So we began a Mishnah yesterday. We said that was a bit esoteric. It was that Aroyas, the Sisrei Aroyas, the Parsha of Aroyas, where Machloikes Rashi and Rabbeinu Chananel, Rashi says the din of Aroyas that not so clear, such as a man having relations with a girl, that a daughter of his from a previous physical abuse of a woman. He was honest, a woman, he raped a woman, had a child. That's according to Rashi, according to Rabbeinu Chananel. It was the act of exactly which point in time is it considered relations. Is it b'shas hara or b'shas nashika, at the time where you just touched the aver to the woman's genitalia? So we had machlokas yesterday, and we concluded that you can't do this in front of three people, less than three. Why? Because if it's three people, one's going to talk to you, two people will go ahead and carry on a conversation themselves, and since there's a taiva for arayos, they may kantamata something. That was the second din of the Mishnah, was that my Bracious, that when it comes to Maisa Bracious, not more, you can't teach it less than two people. In other words, you need two people there to teach it, and that's today's daf. Today's daf makes yesterday's daf look like you understood something. Today's daf makes less. Today's daf is certainly above my pay grade. It is really something that okay. So we'll do what we can do. We'll see what we can see, but a lot of it is again, such is the daf. Some days are just the daf. Anyway, we're up to Yud Aleph on the base, 2, 4, 6, 8 lines in the bottom. How do you know that you can't be less than, it can't be more than two? The Tanur Rabbanan ki shoal no liyamin rishonim, that he will ask you about the previous days. Yachid shol, and one individual, they ain't shnayim shaylim, but two not. So l'chayr, it's a pasuk. It's a pasuk that you can only teach one Talmud at a time, the inyan of Maisa Bereshis, not two. Once the person's there is asking, I might think he might ask what came about before the world. You can only ask from the time that what Adam appeared on the scene. You can only ask from the time that Adam appeared on the scene. So now, if it's the time that Adam appeared on the scene, he was created on day 6. So maybe you might think the previous 5 days you couldn't ask. The previous 5 days, right? You wouldn't be able to ask. You only be able to ask from what? From the bria, the creation of Adam. You're able to ask the days that were before you, even the 5 days. So it comes out one Talmud to one Rebbe can learn about Maisa Bereshis, the hidden parts of Maisa Bereshis, the depths of Maisa Bereshis. Now, what's above, what's below. Again, the concept we said above where above the Chayes HaKodesh, or below the Chayes HaKodesh, or above the Zion Rekias and below the world. We saw yesterday to Pshatim, Malafnim, what came before the world, Mala'acha, what came afterwards. We saw Pshat, what's to the east and what's to the west. From the edge of Shemayim, at the Shoyal, in other words, there's a boundary. Whatever Katsei Shemayim is, within those parameters, one's able to ask. Beyond those parameters, one can't. So So in other words, Mitzvah Shemayim would include what? These parameters. So you can't ask what above, below, nor what came before, or what came after. Good. So therefore, Freg the Kasha, if I learn all that information from Kitzei Shemayim, Amin Aleph, Hashtag Nafkale Mil Kitzei Shemayim, V'at Kitzei Shemayim, I learn from one edge to the other edge. But I have to say the pasuk that from the time that Hashem created Adam, the male included in the boundaries of Kitzei Shemayim is what took place before the world or after the world. So when you're right. So Ella Kid Rebbe Lazar, we're going to use the din of what the Ashabar Kim Adam al Aretz. We're going to use the Rebbe Lazar's din. Rebbe Lazar, Adam Marisha min Aretz ad l'Rakia. Adam Marisha literally was as tall as from the land, the Aretz to the Rakia. Shneimar min Hayom Ashabar Kim. Yes, the pasuk that we needed to darshan now. Min Hayom Ashabar Kim Adam al Aretz. The Kivin Shesarach. Once Adam went ahead and he sinned. By the Eitzadas, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu Yadav Alav, Kodesh Baruch Hu placed his hand on him, Umiyutoy, and he went what? And he diminished him. Shnemar, Acha v'kedem saretzani, before and after you have formed me, Vatashas alai kapecha, and you put alai your hand. Amr Yehuda, Amr Rav, Adam Rishon Misayfa Olam at Saifa Hoya, was from the end of the world to the other end of the world. Shnemar Lemin Ayam Shabar Kim Adam Al Aretz, Ulamiktzei Hashemayim Baktzei Hashemayim. Once Adam sinned, he one you're talking about north-south, the other one talking about east-west. And for the Gemara, no, it's one shear. Again, this is problematic. Pashit pshat. This is not deep at all. To say that Adam was tall and fat is ridiculous, right? I mean, certainly he could have been much taller than we are. That's for sure. But what it means is that Adam, from here to here, he understood the universe. Adam Rishon understood the universe. He was as tall from the Aris to Rakia, he understood. From one end of the world to the other end of the world, he understood. And one of the biggest myths that I have that we've all grown up with, and if you think about it for a second, is cavemen. Cavemen. You know, from the time you were watching the Flintstones, or reading Danny the Dinosaur, right? So you think of a caveman. Now, they don't do this anymore. Do you remember nowadays, they used to hit the woman over the head with a club and schlep her by the hair into the cave? They didn't have it in your day. They did? They had it in your day? Dr. Press, gedenkt us, remember that? Yeah, that was a dumb. Of course, now they wouldn't do it because of the women. But the idea that, he saw fire and he went, right? Adam Rishon guys spoke perfect Lashon Kodesh. Adam Rishon named the animals according to their nature. Adam looked at the animals, understood them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is creating a man. He's going to create a man that walks like this with hair on his head and can't talk and sees fire and goes, huh? Adam created fire. Why do we make Bari Mara Eish every Shabbos night? Because then the lights that were used, we're going to see those lights. They were mishamish for 7 days. The lights went out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, take 2 flints, put them together, hit the flints, and he created fire. But it's one of the most misnomers of different people, cavemen. And it takes a double push it. Cavemen. Okay, anyway, it's a myth. There were 10 things that were created on the first day. Ve'eluhein. Shmayim V'aretz is 2. Tohu Vavohu is 4. Or V'choshech is 6. Ruach HaMayim is 8. Midas Hayom and Midas Halayla, what? Is 10. Good? Now, that means the 24-hour day. Midas Hayom, Midas Halayla, Rashi says, Chaft al Shoyz bein Shneihem, 24 hours between them. This is a very, very important Rashi, fellas. People think that in the dating of the world, one of the biggest questions that people have in terms of the world being 5,782 years old is carbon dating. Carbon dating, we have the world being much, much older, right? So one of the roots that people give is one day in a HaKadosh Baruch Hu's life is 1,000 years. Like the world's going to be 6,000 years. The world's going to exist for 6,000 years. So one day equals 1,000 years. So if that's the case, could be HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, every day was 1,000 years, and that would go ahead and perhaps give us a little closer proximity to the carbon dating of the world. Rashi says it's not true. Rashi says when it says Yom Rishon, Midas Hayom, Midas Halayla, 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night, 24 hours. In fact, guys, the fascinating Ramban, one of the questions that Rashi brings, Vayera Vayivoker Yom Echad. Now, if you're counting, it should be Yom Rishon, Sheni, Shlishi. When you're counting, it's not Echad Sheni, it's Rishon Sheni, first, second, third, fourth. So Rashi asks, why does it say Vayera Vayivoker Yom Echad? It should say Yom Rishon. Rashi answers, it's the day Hashem was one, because some Lachim weren't created till day number 2. Ramban says beautifully, based upon this Gemara, Vayerev, it was Erev. Vayivoker, it was Voker, which equals Yom Echad. It was 12 hours Erev, 12 hours. That's the creation. It says Yom Echad because that was the creation. It was right. He gives another beautiful teretz, which is fantastic. Guys, what was World War I called before World War II? The Great War. What was the Bayis Rishon? They found the coin that said Bayis Rishon on it. They knew it was a fake. It was a fake Bayis Rishon, right? It said Bayis Rishon. I didn't know it was going to be a Bayis. Elama, says Ramban, you couldn't say Rishon, you never Sheni yet. In order to have a first, the reason why Avrami is the first in the row is because Dak is sitting behind him. If Dak wasn't sitting behind him, he'd be the only one in the row. So when the world was created, Yom Echad says beautifully Ramban, it was only one day. It was only one day, but so therefore you couldn't say Yom Rishon. Okay, that's just tangential of the sunset because I want to avoid this Gemara, which is hard. Says the Gemara Vaita. I got to say something and share, like it's something that makes little sense that I understand. This I don't understand. Anyway, you're going to say in a second, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, now, Shmayim V'aretz. How do you know Kadosh Baruch Hu created Shmayim V'aretz? T'chsiv Bereshis Bara Elokim Esher Shmayim V'Aretz. Good. Okay, it's there. Good. It says he created Tohu v'vohu, created Tohu v'vohu. The chsiv v'ards ha'isat Tohu v'vohu. And now the Gemara is going to ask, what is Tohu v'vohu? If you look at Art Scroll, it's void and empty. If you ask your first grade Rebbe, you'll say Pust and Leidik. I touched it from my Pust and Leidik. Your first grade Rebbe, no, they didn't teach you Bereshit. They didn't teach you Aleph Beis even. Or v'choshech, choshech t'chsiv v'choshech al pnei sohaim. It says choshech from the face of the deep. Or t'chsiv v'yom elokim yehi or ruach u'mayim t'chsiv v'ruach elokim rechevas al pnei amayim. Midas hayom mitzalai t'chsiv v'yer v'voka yom echad. There's your Ramban right there, guys. There's yom echad. Beautiful. Okay, Tana. What's Tohu? Tohu is kav, a line. Yoruk, that's green. Shemakim is kolel and kuloi, that surrounds the world. Shemimenu yotze choshech. From this green line comes out choshech. Shnemar Yoshes choshech sisroi svivoisav. He made choshech his concealment around him. Bahu elu avonim falmois. These are moist stones. Hamashukois b'tahoim, that what are immersed in the deep. Sheben yoitzemayim. Mayim comes out of these stones. Shnemar unetei love kav tohu ba'avnei bahu. Avnei bahu again. Guys, again, I have no idea. For Or Bayom Rishon, Ivru Freding Mar was all created on day number 1. For Kasiv Vayitin Rasem Elakim Barakia Hashemayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put them in the Rakia Hashemayim. Ukasiv Vayerav Yivoka Yom Revi'i. Mashma that they were created on day number 4, not day number 1. And for the Gemara, I'll tell you what Pshat is over here. Elokid Reb Elazar. Dama Reb Elazar. Or Shebar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Be'imishon, the Or that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created on the first day. Adam Tzaifa boy mi Tzaifa Adam at Tzaifa. He was able to see from one end of the world to the other end of the world. Again, this R is the ultimate of our intellect, right? This is the R that the Hasidic Svarim say is the Torah. That this is the Torah. How is it possible that a person can learn Torah and know everything? It's because of in the Torah lit this R that you can be Tzaifa from one end of the world to the other end of the world and understand everything. Himish in the Stakla Kadosh Baruch Hu b'Dor HaMabul Dor HaFlaga. Kadosh Baruch Hu saw the Dor HaMabul and Dor HaFlaga. He went ahead one and he hit it, right? From them. Shnemar v'yimnem Rishoyim Oyram. He withheld from Rishoyim Oyram. Well, me Ganzu, who do you go ahead and hide away for? This is called the Ar Garnus Lit Tzadikim, Lots of Lavai, Lit Tzadikim in the future. Shnemar v'yal kim esar ki toiv ve'in toiv el tzadik. Hashkadosh Baruch Hu light was good. Now it's kind of foolish thing. And the Lord saw the light that it was good. God knows what the light was, guys. He didn't have to see it to understand it. He created it. He knew what it was. So obviously you have to go ahead and say or does not mean literally toiv means good. Toiv means continued existence. Ramban says in Bereshis, guys, tov means continued existence. Just to go off, not even so gently, but to give you the Ramban's idea of Bereshis. Vayomer, when it says Vayomer, anytime it says Vayomer, that means taking something from potential, koach elapol, to reality. So therefore you have asar mamaris shenivra olam. The world was created with 10 amaris. Vayom elokim yehi. Hashem created the substance, the atoms, says the Ramban. They called him the chomer. He took that and he said it should be what or. Now what keeps it? Vayar elokim asar kitov. Hashem decides that it should continue to exist. Right? Now it doesn't say vayichein, because it's not so. Vayichein means when it says Ma'aser Bereshis and it was so, meaning as it was created, so it is. It's not true, because as the or was created, it's not that way, because he put it away. So it doesn't say 2 days, it doesn't say Vayichein by day number 1 and day number 5. Day number 1, because the or is put away, the or is created, it continues to exist, but it's not Vayichein, because it's not in the world as it was. On the 5th day, we have the Taninim created, the great Levanthian, these great animals, these great sea monsters. And one of them was put away, so therefore it's not vayichein. That's the Ramban's very simplistic, how much pshat in very very difficult esoteric idea. So this idea of Hashem so ki toiv, obviously it must mean something much more than good. Good doesn't do the job. Right? Tzadikim are called toiv, so he put it away for tzadikim. That's why. But the Ramban has a different approach. So there's basically 2 approaches over here. That one day 1, 1 day 4, and we have to answer that question, right? Now, so therefore, the or was happy. Shnemar or tzadikim yismach. The or for tzadikim yismach is happy. So we see that there was 2 lights. One day 1, and that was put away for tzaddikim, and one created on day 4. That was what it was. What we have now. There is another pshat that the light of day 4 comes from the light of the original day. That's what we're going to see right now. Kitanoi. Or Shabar Kadosh Baruch Hu B'Yom Rishon Adam Sofim B'Madim B'Sof Olam. That's Sofo Divrei Rabbi Yaakov V'Chomayim Hein Ma'oros Shnivru B'Yom Rishon. They are the Ma'oros that were created day 1. V'Loi Nitlu Ad Yom Revi. They weren't suspended until what? Until day number what? And day number 4. The Ramban has a beautiful pshat, guys. This is a fantastic pshat. It explains it. If you're into etymology, the word. The Ramban explains like this: Vayarmel Elokim Yehi Ar. So on day number 1 there was Ar. Good. On day number 2 it says Vayihi Rakia. There was Rakia, and this Rakia was mafsik the Ar that was there. It stopped it from going ahead and shining on the Tahom. The Tahom now on day number 3, you cover a mile makamecha b'sirah hayabasha. You take the water, it goes to one spot, and you see the dry land. Now, if you're on day number 3, you're on the dry land. It's totally dark. Why? Because the rakia is being mafsik. On day number 4, they was put in rakia shemayim for the purpose of illuminating the aretz. You know why? Because until then the aretz was totally pitch black, and you need a lahar aretz. And therefore, what did Hashem do? Says the Ramban. He took from that light of day 1. He took part of it and made it what, as the Gemara is saying now, according to this opinion, made it into the sun and the moon, the sun and the moon. And that's guy's pshat me'oros. It doesn't say they're oros, they're me'oros, they're min ha'or. They come from the original light. That's why they're called also the luminaries. But me'oros, min ha'or, guys, they come from the original light. Listen, I teach this. This is my I teach Bereshis. This is my that's why I know a little bit about it. Yeah.
It seems to me because of Or Zarua Latzadik, Uli Yishrei Leiv Simcha would fit.
Why? It doesn't say anything about R.
No, but before it says
R Zarua Latzadik, Uli Yishrei Leiv Simcha. Okay.
The light becomes joyous.
The light is happy. Yeah, the light is happy. But it doesn't mean the R is happy. It means for the tzaddik, the R is good. But we want the R being happy. So the R is happy. Happy R. Okay, happy hour. Says Ari, stop it. Anyway. I'm going to say about Tuvi Amarav. The Asara Devarim Nivra Olam. The world was created with 10 components. Now, in the Sifrei Kabbalah, guys, there's a concept called the Asara Spheros. Sipurim, the Asar Spheros, there are 10, and the Tikkunei Zohar in the Hakdama to Yud Zayin, these are the Asar Mamoris. In the Mishnah in Abbas, in the 5th parak, the first Mishnah in the 5th parak, says Asar Mamoris Nivra Olam. We had it earlier in the Masechta, we had it in Bereshit, we had it in Megillah. Vayomer, 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 Vayomer. We had 9 and said Bereshit also, Bara was considered one of the Maimorim. So according to the Sefer Isaiah, it seems to be these 10 concepts were the 10 Mamoris of the 10 Sipurim of Kabbalah. And again, these are the 10. What are they? Bechachma is 1, Besfuna, insight is 2, Bedas is 3, Koyach is 4, Geara, Mamish HaKadosh Baruch Hu yells is 5, Gevura, strength is 6, Tzedek is 7, Mishpat is 8, Chesed is 9, Racham is 10. Bechachma is Sfuna. How do you know the world was created? Bechachma is Sfuna. The Ksiv, Hashem Bechachma Yasar Oretz. Koinen Shemayim Bisfuna. Bedas Dechsiv Bedaitoi Tehoimais Nevko. Bekoyach Ugvur Dechsiv Mechin Harim Bekoyach Ne'ezor, right? Bigvura, that they girded Bigvura. Bigara, with Gara, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shouted, literally yelled. Dechsiv Amudei Shemayim Raifu, the Amudim Shemayim, they were trembling. The Yismu Migarasai, and they became founded right when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said stop. There's a beautiful Orach Chaim, guys. There's a beautiful Orach Chaim. Right? By Chalul Kim Bayom Hashvi, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu created on day number 7, right? By Chul Shemayim by Chalul Kim Bayom Hashvi. The world was created in 6 days, not 7 days. What do you mean by Chalul Kim Bayom Hashvi? So the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says that the world was quaking. It was in a state of unrest. It was not founded yet. It was in a state of unrest till Shabbos came. Shabbos gives the world its neshama. We spoke this out once. Shabbos gives the world its neshama. It founded the world. So it's similar to over here. He's saying HaKadosh Baruch Hu stated stop, and it stopped. Okay, but the world was in a state of unrest. But tzedek u'mishpat, tzedek u'mishpat mochon kisecha. B'chesed rachim v'chsiv zocher rachamecha Hashem v'chasidecha ki me'olam eima. Rabbi Yudam Rav. He took to the chassis, guys. So chassis, you remember the chassis? We don't remember this is the short, right? The width, right? The short. He took like yarn and he was going this, and what happened? You ever make a rubber band ball? Right? You make the rubber band ball, you start off a little bit, rubber bands, right? You made the rubber band ball, you start off a little piece of silver foil and you made it right. Then you finally get the rubber bands, they broke and they hurt your fingers, and you went through the whole process. Then you made it was geschmack. It was like a Super Bowl. Remember the Super Bowl, right? So it got bigger and bigger. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu had this pekios of chassis. It was going like this, like this, like this, and the circumference of the world until it got to the circumference that he wanted. At Shegoah bar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu decreed, he called out the midu, and he stopped it. Shnemar. Amude Shemayim Yisrofu vayitmu b'garasei. B'haim Zomer Yishlakish Ma'id Ksiv Ani Kel Shakai. What does mean Kel Shakai? Ani Hu Shermati La'olam Dai. Guys, the name Shakai comes from the lashon of dai. Enough. In other words, it's enough. It's enough. In other words, we're gonna have a perfect. It's a certain amount. At Shema Kodesh Baruch Hu dai. It's enough. Right. It's another pshat, beautiful pshat in dai. Yaakov Kamenetsky fellows. He says that we said that in Mitzrayim. There was tremendous koyach hatuma. So that's why the Dordeya had tremendous koyach haTorah. You always have to offset it. Because Baruch Hu always has to keep our bechira chavshis. It always has to keep it. So depending on the amount of tum in the world, that's how much kedusha has to be in the world, and that's what dai means. Hashem shows enough of Himself, right, perfectly that you have to keep that bechira chavshis always at an even keel. Huh?
What's going on today?
Yeah.
Like Torah learning today.
He said the Khartoum were able to do it because there had to be an equal
Yeah. Yeah. So dai means that dai is that's pshat. That had Kodesh Baruch Hu shows just enough of Himself to keep the perfect. Amrish Lakish b'shosh bar Kodesh Baruch Hu es hayam, and He created the sea. Hayam marchiv v'hoylech ad shegor boy. The sea was going more and more until Kodesh Baruch Hu was gar. He screamed out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'yavshu, and He dried it up. Shnemar goyer bayom. He screamed out to the sea, v'yavshehu, and he dried it out. V'chol hanaharis, and all the rivers herchiv. Tanabanan Beishamai Yomim Shemayim Nivru Tchila. Okay, Beishamai says first the Shemayim was created, v'yakach nivras haaretz, and then the Aretz was created. Shnemar Bereishis bar Elokim es Shemayim ves Aretz. You go in the sequential order. First came the Shemayim, then the Aretz. Beisol Yomim Eretz Nivras Tchila. First the Aretz was created, v'yakach Shemayim, then the Shemayim was created. Shnemar V'yom Asos Hashem Elokim Eretz v'Shemayim. The day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Eretz v'Shemayim. So I saw a beautiful pshat in the Ein Yaakov that was from that we have a famous machloikus between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is whether to better be born or not be born. Is it better noyach leila adam that a person be born, or it's better a person not be born? Beis Shammai says better not be born, because Beis Shammai holds the tachlis of the bria is the kisya covered in the malachim. Therefore, what Hashem created first? The Shemayim. What does Beis Hillel say? No, better to be born, because the tachlis of the world is us with our bechira to be able to go ahead and choose the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Therefore, what did he say is created first? The Aretz, because again, l'shitaseyam, according to what they say, according to what they hold, that's we're going to go ahead and what was created first. We gave importance to what they considered more important. Like Beis Shammai, the Shemaim is more important. Like Beis Hillel, the Aretz is more important. Amalhem Beis Hillel Beis Shammai the Vrechem that the word that you say the Shemaim was created first. Adam boina aliyah v'yakach boina bayis. First, does a person build an attic and then a house? First, you got it. So you look at the Shemayim as an attic. Look at the Aretz as the house. So what do you create first? First, you create the house. Shenemar habayna b'Shemayim ma'aloisav, who builds Shemayim his aliyos ve'agudasay al Aretz yasta, and his living creatures on al Aretz yasta. He was miyasid on the land. Only Beishav Beisil the Vrechem Adam Ma'isa Shrafra. First, he makes this footstool. V'yakach Oisa Kisei. Then he makes the chair. Shnemar, the throne. Koyim Hashem. Hashemayim Kisi. The Shemayim is my throne. The Aretz Hadoim Ragloi, and that's where I put my feet. So obviously, why would they create the footstool before the throne? The Chacham Maimim, they disagree both Beishav and Beisil. Zev Zakachas. They were created as one. Shemayim Aretz were created as one. Shnemar Af Yedei Yos Af Yoda Yos the Aretz V'Mini Tivcha Shemayim Karni Aleim Yamdu Yachtov. That what they should be together at the same time. V'Idach Ma Yachtov. And what does Beishan Beisil hold? What do you mean they were created at the same time? They don't slip away from each other. Meaning what? That you can't, once they're created, you can't have one without the other. That's what it means. Kasha Adadi, Kasha Kray Adadi. Bottom line is, Beishamay bought a pasuk, Beisil bought a pasuk. There's Saisu himself. Beisil bought a pasuk that the earth was created first. Beishamay bought a pasuk that the Shemayim was created first. L'chari, they're Sosa, they contradict each other. So I'm Reish Lakish, Kishenivru bar Shemayim, V'achach bar Aretz. So in other words, Reish Lakish says that what? First he created Shemayim, then he created Aretz. Ukeshenata, but we set them in motion in place, not the Aretz. V'achach not the Shemayim. In other words, this would be very, very good with the way I spoke at the Ramban, right? Is Mikoyach L'Poyel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created things and put them in the way they were. In fact, Rashi says everything was created day number one and placed on its day. So with Rashi, it's also very geshmak. They were created together, but when they came into their reality, their poil, they came into the poil, and they came in first Aretz and then Shemayim. My Shemayim, what's the lashon of Shemayim? Rabbi Yosi, Rachanina, Shom Mayim. That's where Mayim is. You take the word Shemayim is there, is Mayim there. Mix them together. So now this is not obviously the Eshamayim that we know. These are gases, probably the type of elements. As a matter of fact, there are four basic elements of creation: is Avir, is Offer, Eish, Umayim. That Eshamayim clearly what is like Offer is carbon. So certainly that Eshamayim that we're describing over here is not Eshamayim. The Kabbalistic speak about that. Eish is dark. That's why he said if Eish Shemayim, then the Shemayim should be bright, but it's pitch black. Why is it pitch black? Because the yesod of Choshech is blackness. In fact, guys, Gehenim is pitch black. So why? Because the yesod of Choshech is of Eish is Choshech. Shol Rabbi Shmuel, I don't understand what I'm saying either, so don't worry. I'm just repeating a Ramban. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Shol Rabbi Shmuel as Rabbi Kiva. Show you Mahalchim Miderach when they were going on the way. Again, Rabbi Kiva's Rebbe was the famous Nachem Shishkamzu. We met him in Tainus, right? Masechta Tainus. You Mishabish Adam Chaf Beis Shana for 22 years. Shahoy Dorish called Essen Shabbat Torah. Nachem Shishkamzu was known for dashing all the Essen B'Torah as Rabbi Kiva, right? Es Shemaim B'Asaretz Mahoy Dorish. Ben, what did he dash in Es Shemaim B'Asaretz? Amalei Ilu Nema Shemayim B'Aretz. If we would just say Shemayim B'Aretz without the word Es. I would say that I would say that Shemayim is Shemay Shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. I would say Shemayim v'Aretz are the names of Hashem. Bereshis bara Shemayim v'Aretz. Shemayim v'Aretz at first created. So you would say Shemayim v'Aretz is Kadosh Baruch Hu. Akshor Shneimar Es Shemayim v'Aretz. Shemayim Mamish and Eretz Mamish Amid Beis. Es Aretz normally. Okay, once you said the first S, I know that's not Hashem. So why do you need the second Es Aretz? So it's more Lahagnim Shemayim l'Aretz. To go ahead and preface that Shemayim comes before Aretz. Okay. The Aretz says so v'vo. The Aretz was, I guess that's Beis Shammai, right? The Aretz says so v'vo. Michte b'Shemayim astel b'Reisha ma'ishna dekochoshev ma'isa Aretz. Bereishis b'ol kimesh Shemayim v'Aretz. That's the first pasuk in the Torah. Next pasuk in the Torah. The Aretz says so v'vo. The Torah should start speaking about Shemayim first. If the first pasuk says Bereishis b'ol kimesh Shemayim, that's why you should start explaining first. Why do you start explaining the Aretz first? That's the first pasuk. That's what you're explaining first. You should explain Shemayim first. So Tanu Rabbi Shmuel, Mashal Melech Basav Adam. This is a very esoteric mashal. Melech Basav Adam, a king, a human king. Shamal Avodim says to Avodim, Hishkimu lepischi, hurry up, get up, and go to my Pesach. Lemachar, the next day, Hishkimu Matzah Nashim Anashim. He finds men and women. Now, who would you think would get up first? History proves itself. Men get up earlier than women. So the king felt he should find only men there, yet he found women there as well. So Lemi Mishabeach, who is the king going to praise? Lemi Shein Darke Lahashkim, the one that normally doesn't get up and gets up. When you're speaking about Shemayim v'Aretz, you would think the Shemayim, which is less tangible, which is less, it's gaseous. It's much quicker and lighter than the sluggish Aretz. The carbon is sluggish. Yet they both were there. So Kadosh Baruch Hu started Aretz first. They see, but they don't know what they're talking about. They don't contemplate the seven Rakiyos, and they stand on the Aretz. They're standing on the Amudim of the world. Shnemar Again, I have no idea what this Gemara is talking about. Hamargiz eretz memkomo, the one who goes ahead and stores the eretz from its place. Bamudeha yisbot lotzun, and its amudim, they tremble. Amudim ala mayim, the amudim stand on mayim. The Marsha says, guys, ein mayim ala Torah. So the omid of the world is Torah. Shnemar leroika haaretz ala mayim. He spread the haaretz ala mayim. Mayim ala harim. The mayim of the Torah is al harim on the Gedolei Hadoru compared to mountains. Shnemar al harim yamdu mayim. Harim beruach, harim they stand beruach. Shnemar hine yoytze harim uboyre ruach, and the bechira of the great, the ruach speaks to the bechira of the Gedolei Hador, who are mayim, who are compared to Torah. They're the foundation of the world, right? Ruach besara, kiheni yetze adam uboyre ruach. Ruach besara. Ruach stands on the sar is the wind. Shnemar a vile wind, very, very hard wind. Ruach Sara Oiseh Devarai. The Ruach Sara does his divor. And Sara Tluya B'Zroish HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Sara is suspended by the Zroy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shnemar, when we tachas Royos Oilam, and underneath Zroyos the arm of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chom Moimim, Chom say Al Yud Beis Amudim, Oim this stands on 12 pillars, Shnemar, Yatzei Gvulas Amim Lemispar, and Bnei Yisrael, and Bnei Yisrael, of course, is 12 Shvatim. The Yesh Amim Zayin Amudim, 7 Amudim, Shnemar, Chitzva Mudah Shiva. If you look in the end of the Gemara Makis, there's a big machloikis. How many you can go ahead and take the mitzvahs and make them 11. You can make them 6. You can make them 1. One is the Amun in Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and everything depends upon Amun in Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shnemar, it's Tzaddik Yisayid Olam, guys. It's Tzaddik is the side of the world. The Amun of the Tzaddik is the side of the world. Amar Yehuda, Shnei Rakiim Hein. There are two Rakiim. Shnemar. Hein Lashem Elokecha Hashemayim Ushmei Hashemayim. So we have 2 ones. Shemayim and Shmei Hashemayim. Reishlaka Shama Shiva. There are 7. Ve'elu Hein. These are the 7. Now you might recall, fellas, in Pesachim, we said each one is 500 years from each other. That to go from here to the first Rakia is 500 years. The length of the Rakia is 500 years, and the width of the next Rakia is 500 years. And this is it's we spoke about this in Sefta Pesachim, how incredible it is. So here's the name of the 7 Rakia. So Elohein. Viloin is 1, Rakia is 2, Shchakim is 3, Zvul is 4, Moen is 5, Machon is 6, and Arabah is 7. Viloin, literally a curtain, guys. Viloin, literally a curtain. Einim mishamish klum. It's not any used for anything. It covers the sun. It comes in the morning, goes in the evening. And it repeats itself every single day. So just as a curtain separates, so too the Viloin, the first Rakia, separates us from the sun. Shnemar hanoitin kadoik shemayim, who spreads out kadoik like a thin curtain to shemayim. The yim tachem ka'oil l'shaves. Rakia, the second one is called Rakia. Sheboy chama u'levana. The Rakia, guys, is the chama u'levana. Kechavim mazoles kavuim de kavayesh shnemar. V'yitin ma'asem elokim Rakia shemayim. Kadosh Baruch Hu put them in the Rakia shemayim. So therefore, the sun is in the Rakia. Now, to give you an idea, fellas. The sun is 93 million miles away from Earth. The sun is 93 million miles away from Earth, and this is only the second Rakia. So you wonder the vastness of the universe. This is only the second Rakia. Shchakim, Shaboy Rechayim Oimdais. There's a mill that stands. V'toichnes manlit tzadikim, and it grinds manlit tzadikim. Shnemar, Vayitzav Shechakim, Mimal, V'dalse Shemayim Pasach, V'yamtem Aleim Mon Lechol. Now this is speaking less of Lavai. So the question is, the mon that they got, Bisman, the Midbar guys, is from this mon. In other words, it's not, they borrowed from this mon. This is where it comes from. It comes from this, the mon that fell comes from this third Rakia. Okay. Zavul, Sheboy Yerushalayim, that's where the Yerushalayim Shalmaila is, who based on Migdash and the based on Migdash Shlishi. Mizbeach Bonoi, and in this fourth one called Zvul, the Mizbeach is built. Umichal Asara Gadol Oimed, and the Michal, the Sara Gadol, is Oimed Umakar V'lov Carbon. The Michal, the Sara Gadol, he stands and he's Makar Kabana, Shnemar, Bona Benisi, base Zvul. I've built base Zvul, right? Lach for you. Mochin l'shivtecha ilamim. Uminol dikri shemayim. How do you know that Zvul is called Shemayim? Dichsiv habeit mishemayim urei mizvul kodshecha b'sifatecha. Okay, so this is a very nice drasha over here. It's based upon a Tosfos that who is he shechting over here? Who is Michal the Sar Gadol? He's the Kohen Gadol. He's the Kohen Gadol in Shemayim. Who is he? What is he shechting? Who is he shechting? Why is he shechting? So I give you the following. Here's it, guys. You can see this. You can see this. The guys. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. So this is the Tosfos in the last page of Menachos. I didn't send it out. I'm sorry, but Umichal Sarah Gadol Oimeid Umakrav of Carbon. So that's Mamash Gemara. Midrashes Chalukim. There's midrashes that are chaluk. Yeshmi Shoimer Nishmoisein Shel Tzadikim. He shechs the neshamas of tzadikim. V'yeshmi Shoimer Kavasim Shel Eish. He shechs fiery sheep. V'hainu daminim b'shmona esrei. V'avoida we say in Ritzei the Isha Yisrael Sfilasam. The Isha Yisrael Sfilasam Mehera Ba'avos Kabel Baratzai. Okay, so we have machlokes 2 days. We have one day is what that he's shechting tzadikim, and another day that what he is being maked in the shamas of tzadikim or kifsei atzeres. So now I'd like to share with you a very interesting Gemara. Says the Gemara. This is the Gemara in Daf Chaf Aleph in Yuma. What does the Gemara say? Chamisha devarim nemru be'esh shel maracha. 5 things we say about the Eish Shel Maracha. Ravutza Ka'ari. It's the Eish is rov, it's there like a lion. Ubara Kechama. It's like clear like the sun. V'yesh B'mamish, you can feel it. V'oichlen Lachen Kiyaveshim. It goes ahead and eats up moist like what? Like Yavesh. Ve'ena Maila Ashan. It doesn't give off any smoke. That's what it says. But by that particular. So I was thinking a very interesting thing. According to if the Eish on the Mizbeach is compared to a lion, a fiery lion, what do you feed a fiery lion? Fiery sheep, right? That perhaps is like the tzushtel to sheep. That perhaps is the tzushtel to the sheep. What about the shamas of tzadikim? So I really feel bad that I can't post this again. I didn't ask him permission, but I'll read to you. This is a combination of a Zayar brought down in Mesifta. It says that it's being makriv in the shamas of tzadikim, and it's ukein says similar to this muva b'Zayar Chodosh chelik aleph daf nun ches shenishbas at tzadik shezachsa lalois legan eden. They shech them in order they should be zoicha to go to a Gan Eden. Ulahagia l'rakia ravi and nikrizvul lekeich esam michal asar gadol. Umakriv lekorbin ka'adam amakriv dorin l'fnei hamelech. He brings them as karbonis. Umalava oisai ad rakia shvi until they get to the 7th rakia hanikra ravos shesham neshames shel tzadikim shenasim malchi ashares v'nenem mizev hashchina. So it says the Zohar, fascinating concept, fellas. When you think of shechting tzadikim, you're killing them. That's not pshat. What's an oila? What's a carbon? A carbon is the gift of Kodesh Baruch Hu. And any animal that was zoichet to be shecht on the mizbeach is a lot better than ending up in the freezer section of Glatmar, right? I mean, think about it. Mamisha, go up your reich v'chayit HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So these tzadikim, they get to the 4th level. What gets them from that level to the highest level, which is our ravos, is that act that is being offered on the mizbeach as karbanis, and that we shot in a very esoteric idea to explain something. I think it's geschmack, yeah. That I never understood that either. Because I used to have a god as a kid with the Malach HaMavis. Oh, was that scary? I don't know. Remember that? He was like a skeleton with. Oh gosh, they got rid of that quickly, right? None of your kids saw that. Thanks to Malach HaMavis in the Agada, it was a skeleton. The Maxwell House Agada. I never drank that coffee ever. I was so scared of that Malach HaMavis. Anyway, I think it's a very nice. Again, in other words, do I understand what I just said? No. But it sounds good, like it's an elevation. So we're describing the Rekias, and we have Mahala. I like it. I like it very much. Okay, weiter. So now, what's the next one? So we did 3. We did 4 actually. We did Viloin, we did Rakia, we did Shchakim, and we did Zvul. Ma'oin, 3 lines down, it gets wide. That's the 5th one. Shaboy Kita Shal Malchi Ashares. These are Kitos of Malchi Ashares. Shaimer Shira B'Laila. They say Shira at night because Bnei Yisrael say Shira during the day. Guys, we daven Shachris, we daven Mincha. Ma'ariv is a Rishus. So therefore, they go ahead, and it says the Marsha, they say it at night. The choshes b'yoyim, and the quiet during the day. If they kvoider shel Yisrael, shnemar yoimam yitzav Hashem chazdoi b'layla shira imi. So the big question. So how is it possible when Yaakov Avinu was fighting with the Malach of Esav, that he said, "I got to go, I got to sing Shira." But if it's during the day, the Malach of Esav can't possibly be saying Shira, right? That was, no, because it depends. There's two types of malachim. The malach that doesn't say during the day is the malach that's created just for a one-day job. A malach that is like Michael, a ständig malach, Sar Shel Esav, which has a ständig job, they could say during the day. Anyone learns Torah at night, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moishech Alav Chut Shel Chesed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu literally draws a Chut Shel Chesed b'yoyim during the day. Shnemar Yomam Yitzav Hashem Chazdai. Umatam, that's the reason that Yom Yitzav Hashem Chazdai Mishum B'layla Shira Imi, because he was singing Shira with me at night. Anyone who's Oisik in Torah in this world, which is similar to night, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moishech Alav Chut Shel Chesed Lo'elam Haba. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will go ahead and literally draw a Chut Shel Chesed for the next world, which is similar to the light, to the day. Shnemar Yom Yitzav Hashem Chazdai U'Balayla Shira Imi. Amar Rav Levi Kol HaPoisik B'Derei Torah V'Oisik B'Derei Sicha. Anyone who stops learning is Oich B'Derei Sicha. Machinus Gachlei was summoned. They're going to be fed these pieces of hot coal. Shnemar HaKoifim Maluach Alai Siach V'Shoyresh V'Sochim Lachman. They uproot the luchais, the words of by just I'm speaking, and eventually what they're going to eat, their mouths will be eating these lachman, these lechem from these coals. How do you know it's called shemayim? Shnemar hashkifa miyan kochcha. It says in the Pasha Biur Maisus and Pasha Kisavai hashkifa miyan kochcha min shemayim mochain. But it's called mochain shaboy oitzus sheleg v'oitzus borad. There was oitzus sheleg and oitzus borad. Aliyas talolim royim. That's where beer dew comes from. Alilas agolim. And that's where basins of water come from. The chador shall soifa usara umara shall kitor, and a cave of vapor. But also say mesh nemar yiftach Hashem l'ches oitzroy hatoiv. Open up your oitzah hatoiv. When it says oitzah hatoiv, it must be that what is a bad one. Hani berakiyasnu. Furthermore, that's not berakiyah. Hani bariyasnu. These are on this world. It's siv. Halu Hashem in the earth. Taninim chol haimais eishu boret shelig v'kita ruach sara oisah devaroisi. You see that's in this world. So Rabbi Yehuda, Amarav, David Bikesh Aleim Rachmim, David Davin, by Redam La'aretz, they brought them down. David had he's Amalafan of Vanshlam, Loi Kel Chayfetz Rashata, Loi Yagurcha B'Magurcha Ra. They shouldn't go ahead and live with you a Magurcha Ra. What does it mean? Sadikat Hashem, Loi Yoga B'Magurcha Ra. Nothing bad can be with you. David had also a material motive because it could do much more damage in Shemayim than it does in the Aretz. The Ikrei Shemayim. How do you know that Mochan is called Shemayim? The Siv Yata Sishma Shemayim Mochan Shiftecha. Rabbi is finally the seventh Rukiah. Shebot Tzedek Mishpah V'Tzidkas Tzedakah. Ginzei Chayim V'Ginzei Sholem V'Ginzei Bracha. When the Shemasin Shal Tzadikim, that's what the Zohar was saying. When you shech them in the fourth level, they go up to the seventh level. The Ruchais and the Shomais. Sha'asili Borais and the Luchas and the Shomas they'll be born. The Tal Shasa Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Chayis Mason. The Tal that the Kadosh Baruch Hu being Mason. So now, Tzedek Mishpat Dechsiv Tzedek Mishpat Mochen Kisecha Tzedaka Dechsiv Vayalbesh Tzedaka Kisirion like armor. Ginzei Chayim Dechsiv Ki Imcha Makar Chayim. Ginzei Shalom Dechsiv Vayikrolei Hashem Shalom. Ginzei Bracha Dechsiv Yisa Bracha Meis Hashem. Ishmashim Sadikim Dechsiv Avigal tells David V'Hayis Nefesh Adoni Tzur B'Tzur Chayim Es Hashem Elokecha. That's Tachas Kisi HaKavod. Ruchas and Neshamai Shasidin Libarais that will be born. The Ruchas and Neshamas that will be born. In other words, they all come from this chamber that's called Guf. Dechsiv Kiruach Milfana Yatoif V'Neshamas Ani Asisi. So this guy's the Ramban says that every neshama that we have was created during Sheshem Bereshis. Every neshama that exists in Chodesh Tachas Hashemesh, nothing was made new. So we're all pretty old, right? No, that's the concept of Gilgal. No. There's two. That there hasn't been a new neshama in this world since Yom Rishon, since Bayis Rishon. But until Bayis Rishon, there were neshamas that went. So now, if you believe in the concept of Gilgulim, so now each one of us is a Gilgal of someone else. Here we're just speaking about the concept of Hashem didn't create the world and then later on created the neshamas, right? They were all created, every single neshama, even the ones that were originals, and they were created during my celebrations. And that's in the seventh Rukiah. The Ramban says that. The Chsiv, it says, Geshem nidavais tonif elakim nachlascha v'nilo atokinanto shom ifanim b'srafim v'chayes hakodesh v'malchei hasharis v'kisi hakovayd molach el kel chavekayim ram benisa shochan aleim ba'ravais shenemar, because it says solu extolim leroichi ba'ravais beis shmoi u'minol dikri shmayim hadnu aravais kol shmayim asya rechiva ksivhacha solu leroichi ba'ravais ksivhasan roichiv shmayim be'azrecha. The choshech va'anan va'arfa mekif ma'isay shnemar, surrounded by choshech offer again. Shnemar yoshes choshcha b'sisrei sivos is surrounded by darkness. Sukosay cheshkas mayim ovish chakim umika cheshikas kamay shmay. Is there any darkness by Kodesh Baruch Hu? V'ksiv who gola amikta umisat rasa yoda ma bechashucha v'nahayra is light. Light lives with Kodesh Baruch Hu, so I can say it's darkness. Like Kasha, Amid Aleph, Habibate Gavoy, in his inner house, Habibate Baroi. In the inner house, it's light, in the outer house, it's dark. There's even one above the heads of the Chayos, the Chsiv, with the Mus al Roishi Hachaya. This is the Ma'aser Merkava. The Mus al Roishi Hachaya Rakia Kaina Kerach Hanoira Ad Kan Yesh Lecha Rishus L'Daber. You can't speak about it. She can custom a Sefer Ben Sira. Ben Sira is again one of these writers that was around at the time of the Vayesheni. The Muflim Imcha, something that's separate from you. Al Tidroish Rishon Darshan Umuchusim Imcha, that's something that's covered up from you. Al Tachkul B'Masha Hoiri Shata. His Bainain Ein Lecha Esep in Nistaros. Don't deal with Nistaros. On that end, that's a perfect way to end the evening. Not to deal with Nistaros. All right. Poetic. Have a great one.